Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu salam, rasulullah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Tariq Khalid. I'd like to welcome to our program here at Sharjah Media Corporation on getting to know Allah, getting closer to your Lord. And we want to start today with one hadith. And Ibn Mas'ud reported, I asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which action is dearest to Almighty Allah? And he said, prayer in its time. I asked, then what is it next? He said, obedience to parents. And I asked, then what is next? He said, jihad in the way of Allah. So we see something that is very, very important, that prayer, of course, for those people that don't know it, is essential to our progress, meaning progress in our relationship with Allah. We should be living in a progressive state. And what do I mean by that? I mean that wherever we are right now, if you just look at yourself, if you look at your life right now, wherever you see yourself today, you should be trying to improve your relationship with Allah. That this should be paramount in your life. No matter what your condition is, no matter what you're doing in your life, no matter how busy you are, and you know, there are so many people today, I mean, they're extremely busy, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. But our priority should always, we have families, we have children, we have parents. Our priority has to be to continually work to improve my relationship with my Lord. And that starts with prayer. Establishing the prayer for us, for Muslims, 5 times a day, every day. And we should put that into practice. And we should not leave it. And we should try to improve on it. Because this is the basis of our relationship with our Lord. And we should be thankful that Allah has allowed us and put us in the environment where we can thank Him and praise Him a minimum of 5 times a day. That this is a gift that Allah only gave to the prophets of old. When I ask friends that I know who are Christians, how did Jesus pray? Alayhi salam. They don't know. I said, well, if you read your scriptures, you see them some brief descriptions of that. You know, he used to prostrate, he used to wash his face and hands and his feet. Okay, where did this come from? This is what you do know, even though you don't know necessarily how he did it. This is what you do know. And who does this now? Who? We have the complete system for worship. And this previously was only done by the prophets, not by regular people. So Allah has given us in the conclusive phase of human existence to the people who say that we'll bow down to Him. He said, in conclusion, at the end of this world, this is it. There's no more religion coming. There's no more prophets coming. There's no more scriptures being revealed. This is it. Everybody, you want to obey me, read the Quran, be a Muslim, pray, okay, follow Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if you look at what Jesus brought, you see that this is included in our belief system. If you understand what He really brought, if you understand what Moses brought, you understand this. If you really want salvation on the day of judgment, and I'm talking about the monotheistic religions, the Christians and Jews, if you sincerely want this, then you will see and you know clearly without distinction that you will get past the misinformation and understand that this is the way that I should be going. And of course, you have to get past the misinformation. And there's a tremendous amount of misinformation today. And why is that? Because Satan knows better than anyone that the time is narrowing to the day of judgment. So he stepped up, just basically he stepped up his game. He's put more hurdles in front of you. He's become trickier. He's made things bigger, appear. He's changed appearances. He's changing all the time. He's making efforts in so many different ways. And part of that is adjusting to us. That man is changing. His mentality is changing. So he's adjusting with us also. So we need to understand this, that this challenge for us is a real challenge. And our eternity is at risk. This world is temporary. We need to think about our eternity. And can we take a chance by playing around with these games in this world that people have us playing that are going to block us from remembering Allah? That'll get us deluded with sex, drugs, and rock and roll. If you look at this clearly, isn't the orientation of what you're seeing, just think about those three things I mentioned: sex, drugs, and rock and roll, meaning music. Just think about how this has been combined today, and look at the emphasis on zombies. All these crazy movies about zombies, leading entertainers, actors, making foolish movies about zombies. Some of the most popular TV programs about zombies. Think about it. What is happening? Are not people being made into zombies? Think about it. Look at what's happening with the cell phone. Are not people becoming addicted to the screens? Even this screen right here, addicted to the screen. And that screen taking them away from worshiping Allah, obeying Allah, and leading them clearly away from the belief in Allah. So much so that we become very liberal in our behavior and actions, and we begin to think, for example, a person who's praying 5 times a day, well, that's a little bit much. That's extreme, brother. 5 times a day, okay. Once a day I can understand, maybe twice, once in the morning, once in the evening. But 5 times a day, every day, rain, shine, sleet, or hail, whoa, that's a bit much. But I ask you a question for the people out there. When we think about our eternity, if we think about paradise, which will be forever, where you'll be young forever, which we talked about in past programs, that you have no want of anything, and everything that you can imagine, conceive of, Allah will give you, and then bring the things which you could not conceive of. Is it worth it? How long are you going to be on this earth? How long on this earth are you going to be productive? No one knows. You don't know how long you're going to be here. You don't know how long you're going to be productive even. We're seeing young people now die. Healthy athletes, example. We're seeing young people lose their minds. We're seeing young people wasting their time with drugs and alcohol, destroying their lives, destroying their minds. Very bright people. Destroying, self-destruct. Why? What is it? What is it that is leading to this? Very simple. I make it very simple. People say, well, it's not that simple. I'll make it very simple for you. Satan wants to finish as many people as he can, as young as he can. Just make it simple. That's right. If he can write you off as a teenager, fine. Plus, he don't have to wait for you to be 50, 60, 70 years. He got to fight with you for 50 or 60 years to get you off the path and on the path of hellfire. No. If I can get you at 15, 16 years old, brain dead, okay, because you're mixing cocktails we're talking about with alcohol and drugs. So now, next thing is you become a zombie. Or you become so depressed or whatever because of your involvement in things that you shouldn't be involved in, and all of a sudden, next thing you cross the counter drugs. So what the doctor's giving you? Well, this person he's hypersensitive, so-and-so, so we give him this pill, and now he's like a robot. How much of this are we seeing? When are we going to wake up to this? We need to look at what is at loss. Make a comparative analysis between what is Allah asking you to do compared to what you're going to get in this world and what you're going to get in the hereafter. Nothing in this world is guaranteed. We see it all the time. People, right now, there are companies, major corporations that existed for 100 years, were big corporations, finished. Their names wiped off the board. As we know, for people, the same thing. Very wealthy, very influential, angel of death, time up, finished. They're in history, documented, that's it. Finished. So look at yourself and see, what about me? What is my condition today? Where do I stand with my Lord? Where am I going when I leave here? Is it over? And if you really ask yourself, inside, you know it's not over. You want to believe that, okay, because people have told you, listen, man, deal with it now. Just do it. Whatever it is, just do your thing right now. Enjoy to the full, to the maximum, at any cost. Really? Yeah, just enjoy it. Because, tomorrow's not promised, but just enjoy it. I said, tomorrow is promised. Tomorrow is promised. The question is, what will be your condition tomorrow? But tomorrow is coming. You may not be in this state, but tomorrow is promised. The angels of the angel of death will take your soul. The angels will question you in the grave. Yes, that is coming without question. So don't be fooled by the rhetoric of ignorance and darkness that is being spread globally to attract the people and distract them from the truth. Follow the truth for your own sake. It is reported in the authority of Abdullah bin Amr that the Prophet ﷺ said, whosoever will offer the prayer properly and regularly, it will be for him on the day of resurrection a source of light, a proof of his faith, and a means to salvation. Whosoever does not protect it, meaning does not offer it carefully or regularly, there will be for him no light, no proof, and no salvation. Such a person will be with Pharaoh, Korah, Hammam, and Ubay bin Khalaf on the resurrection day. It's collected by Ahmed. These are among the worst people who lived on this earth. Think about this. We have time now. It is reported in the authority of Jabir, radiallahu anhu, the Prophet ﷺ said, between a man and infidelity, there is the abandonment of prayer. It's collected by a Muslim. And we see that infidelity is something in many different forms. Infidelity doesn't necessarily mean relations that a man or woman have with someone other than their wife or their husband. But the person who chooses the wrong path when he's been offered the correct path. We need to understand that. And some people say, well, brother, I have my own path. I'm doing my own thing. I mean, we hear this all the time. I don't bother anybody. I just keep this to myself. I said, really? Okay, fine. I understand that you're on that path. Let's talk about that path. Let's look at where it leads you. And can you tell me where your path is going to lead you? Do you have a description of what's going to happen to you tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Can you explain that to me? Can you tell me what's going to happen? Of course not. You may have a plan, but can you determine what's going to happen? There's one thing I can surely determine what's going to happen. Without question. No doubt. You're going to die. When? Allah knows best. What next? The angels are going to question you in the grave. What next? Your condition in the grave is going to be based on how you answer those angels. So you need to know now Because the only thing that's going with you in the grave is your actions, your deeds. So you need to understand that now, and this has to be correct. No matter what you think or your opinion may be, correct your opinion and your thoughts and put those thoughts and your opinion in line with Allah tells you to do. Everyone says, well, listen, we're building this building. I asked you, do you have a blueprint? Guy says, yes, I'm an engineer, I'm an architect. The architect says, well, I designed the building. The engineer says, well, I'm implementing the systems, and I'm the project manager. Says, well, where is the blueprint for your hereafter? Do you have one? You can build this building or city. Do you have a blueprint for your hereafter? And if you don't, then you better get busy. Because we do. We do. The Quran and the Sunnah is the blueprint for your hereafter. And that is related to how you're living right now. And that is doing what? Showing you how to obey Allah now, so that Allah will be pleased with you. He will give you paradise. Simple. All that we own belongs to someone else. The Prophet ﷺ said this more or less. Except that which you have used and that which you have sent ahead of you. Sent ahead of you mean that you gave in the name of Allah for others. You helped or assisted in some kind of way for others, just for the pleasure of Allah. And whatever you used while you were living, whatever you left, someone else is going to have it. Whether you like it, don't like it, whether you planned for it, whether you wrote a will, whatever. And sometimes, if you leave behind things that are very valuable, people fight, and even some people get killed fighting over what you've left behind, if you're leaving something very, very expensive. So think about this. Do not be like the people of darkness, that they think like the Pharaoh, an example of Moses. In the tombs, in the pyramids, an example, he put wealth in there, killed his servants, thinking that he's going to get all this in the hereafter. They're going to be there to serve him. This is darkness. This will not happen. So plan now, properly, by obeying the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and following the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is the way for clear guidance for all of humanity until the day of judgment. My name is Tariq Khalid. I'd like to thank you for joining us one more time, and we hope you continue to join us here at Sharjah Media Corporation on getting closer to Allah, getting to know who is your Lord, and trying to implement this reality in our life before our death. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.